Hey, everybody, welcome to Love+Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm here with my friend, Stephane Compain, the CEO and co-founder of LuxRelo. Stephane, how are you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Doing great. Thanks for the invitation.
Where in the world are you, and what time is it
I'm
there?
I'm in small, very small Luxembourg at the center of Europe, and it's 10 p.m.
Wow. God bless. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks everyone for who's watching right now for being here. Get in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you are, give your company a shout out. Let me know what time it is. This is fantastic. Look, Mike Quigley. Mike Quigley. I just want to give Mike Quigley a shout out. You know, if y'all don't know Mike, follow Mike, call Mike randomly. Just a great, great person. Mike, thank you so much for the call you gave me earlier. It made my day the way he encouraged me. Stephane, isn't that a beautiful thing about our industry? Just the hearts of the people that we meet in this industry.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why the brand of your show, Love and Relo, it's typically that. I we had the Euro conference a few weeks back, and it's amazing, to see how yeah, so much love, so much trust they have between people, and it's amazing. It's like meeting friends, and I have people that I didn't meet for many years because of COVID, and you see them, and it's like you saw them the day before, and that's what's great about our industry.
And we just pick up where we left off. I love it. We got Adrian Grimes here in Global headquarters. Adrian, thanks. Adrian's filling in as the producer today. So shout out to Adrian making it happen. I got to ask you, I'm just going to come right out. LuxRelo, it doesn't mean high end relocation, luxury relo. It means Luxembourg. What is going
Yes.
on in Luxembourg? Stephane, Luxembourg is one of the smallest countries in the world. Why is Luxembourg important in the global mobility
Well,
stage?
I mean, Luxembourg is a very small country, but which means that they are very agile, and they are able to switch, from one industry to the other very quickly, which is more difficult for big countries. So they started, with the steel industry, and it was very important. And you have the headquarters of global steel producer, which is ArcelorMittal, and then the steel industry went down, and they went into banking. And then suddenly, bank secrecy disappeared, and they had to, they wanted to be out of the black and gray list, and so they did the necessary to be to start to be clean again,
Yeah.
if I can say that. And then they shifted to new technology. They are investing a lot in the space industries. So you have a lot of company in the space industry. You have industries. You have the R&D plant of Goodyear in Europe is in Luxembourg. You have
Oh,
DuPont that
wow.
is in Luxembourg, Delphi. So yeah, a lot of big companies, US companies, are based in Luxembourg.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's so we're gonna talk about Luxembourg. I know next to nothing about Luxembourg. I know Stefan. Honestly, you're like top five things I know. If I was a Wikipedia on Luxembourg, you're the top five things I know about Luxembourg, which I think is amazing. But I'm gonna learn about Luxembourg today. I want to also talk about entrepreneurship. Stefan, you run a company with your wife Sandrine, your co-founders together. I think
Exactly.
that's just
Yes.
amazing. I think it's fascinating. I want to know how do you do it? How does that work?
Well, it's I mean, I started in the moving industry, and during nearly 2 years we worked together, and we understood that it was possible. We met during our studies, and when I lost my job 7 years ago, and I couldn't find a job, and I said, oh, I still love the relocation industry and the moving industry, or the global mobility industry. And I said, why can I do it for myself? And
Yeah.
at that time, my wife was a freelancer working for various relocation company in France, Belgium, and Luxembourg. And I told her, you have all the experience on the field, and I have a managerial experience. If we merge, our competencies together, it's going to work very well. It's how it started.
What did she
Um,
think in that moment? Because I mean, that's a scary moment, and this kind of goes into your entrepreneurial journey. That moment when you look at your significant other and you say, "Hey, what do you think about taking this big, crazy, scary leap and doing something we've never done before?" That's a real gut check moment, as we say here in the States. What was that
well,
moment like for you
yeah,
two?
it's amazing because I always said I would never be an entrepreneur, that it wasn't for me.
Why? Why did you say that? Why did you think that?
Because I thought I didn't have the guts. I didn't have the idea of setting something. And I think that losing my job was, now I can say it was the best decision I never made. I had my back to the wall, and we decided to put all our eggs in the same basket. Suddenly we decide that we are going to set up a company, put some of our savings into it, and then go for it. And it was a family project. The kids worked on the name, brainstorming on the name, on the logo. Everybody has been very supportive, and it's how it started. And my wife, she saw that I was sending CVs, I was networking, couldn't find a job, didn't have a lot of interviews. I was 49 at that time, and she said, "Okay, if you cannot find a job, and then let's create one for you and for me as well."
I love this story. It's brilliant. I put a quote in here: "Losing my job was the best decision I never made." I think I understood you just say that correctly.
Yeah.
I think that's just that's an all-time quote right there. Sandrine said, "Let me tell you, working with my husband is like a second youth. It's fantastic." Wow, you got a great wife there. I'll tell you what, I don't think my wife would write that in there. Um, this is great. Krista Moore says, "Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday." Yes, thank you, Krista. Hit that like button. Get in here. I want to know, could you see working with your significant other? Um, who could you see starting a business with? What are your thoughts on starting a business with your significant other? I'd love to get in the comments. I want to know what your thoughts are. If you would do it, if you wouldn't do it, why? What do you think about it? Jana Chesanoski says, "Happy Thursday, everyone. Great to see you again, Stephane." Yeah.
You know what is funny, is that nearly every time people are asking us, how is it to work with your wife or your husband? How can you manage? Most of the people would tell us, it would be impossible to work with my wife or with my husband. I think basically it's a lot about respect, and also it's also the fact that we've defined in which part of the job we're working. She's more managing the operation and the HR, and I'm more into finance and sales. So yeah, it's working, because we are not stepping on each other's toes.
Your wife, who really I got to get her on the show one time. This is your second time on, okay? And I feel like Sandrine is the undercover star here of of the company. Sandrine saying, "Who would I trust more than my husband?" I don't know. I mean, is that an earnest question? You want me to just give you like 5 people, or no? I think that trust is really, I think, the foundation of every relationship, including business relationships. And I think it's a really good point Sandrine brings up here. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you ever get into disagreements? I mean, is arguing? I'm going to go down this
she,
path. Is arguing
she's
with
the
your
boss.
spouse as a okay?
She's
She's the
the boss. I
boss.
cannot disagree. The only thing I'm allowed today is just to have my mug saying the boss.
So she gives you that mug, and then she makes all the decisions, basically.
Exactly. Yes. No. I think in the past 7 years, we didn't have real disagreements, I must say. I think we had more fights when we had the kids at home, and it was a bit challenging. So this new baby is a bit easier to raise because maybe we have more experience.
Wait till
But yeah, no,
LuxRelo's a teenager, and then maybe
yeah,
feel differently.
LuxRelo this year starts to be a teenager.
Sandrine says, "Yes, we argue. I'm very bad at
IT.
it arguing or IT.
Yeah,
Okay, IT.
yeah. I must say that's that's true. The only arguments we have is concerning IT.
That's great. So you do sales, finance, and presumably IT, and she does the executive functions and operations.
Yeah.
This is great. We have people checking in. The question is, could you work with your spouse, with your significant other? Could you start a business with them? Have you started a business with them? I want to know what your thoughts are here in the comments. If you're watching right now, we have people who are checking in. I feel like this is a really good question for people.
But you know what is interesting is that I think that it's an industry where you have a lot of couples working together, or mother and son or daughter. You have a lot, which is quite unique compared to other industries.
Why do you think that is? As we let people get in the comments here, why do you think there's a lot of family or couples in the business?
I don't know, but I think we are dealing with people, so people that work in that industry must care a bit about people, I think, which make those people a bit different. And so if one of the child want to join, he has the same spirit, or I would say.
I have a theory that I just came up with that I'm going to actually float out there. I believe people in the global mobility industry are the best kinds of people because we are empathetic and we are curious and we're interesting because of that. And we work really long hours in the summertime, especially. And so we end up dating each other. And so here we are, flash forward 5-10 years. Now we're together, right? And we're just these amazing people, talented, and we're together and we're in the same industry. And something happens from a job standpoint, like you said, and we turn around and we say, well, you got that and I got this. Maybe we could do it together, And then boom, there we are, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a principle of dating.
Yeah, I love it. So let's see here. We got people checking in here. I want to see what people think. Can you work with your spouse or partner? Jeremy says, great to see you both. Stephane is very inspiring. Yes, my wife and I have done the same thing. Argue over IT or work together, Jeremy? I want to know. This is great. Scott says, I have the greatest admiration for people that are able to work with their spouses. I find that separation of work and personal life works better for my wife and I. Kudos to you, Sandrine and Stephane. Scott, I feel like you'd be a pretty agreeable person to work with. I wouldn't marry you, but I'd work with you. So I don't know. Inigo, hi, Stephane and Sandrine, the best couple in the industry. Ooh.
Oh, thanks, Inigo.
Yeah. High praise. Inigo's a great person and a great judge of
character.
character.
The inspiring guy in his camping van.
Oh my gosh. Inigo is going to save half of Ukraine in his camper. I mean, this guy deserves like a medal of honor, honestly. He really should. He deserves a commendation for what he's done for the refugees in the Ukraine. Shout out to you, Inigo, one of the great people and one of the great musicians in our industry as well. Did you get a chance to see Inigo play at Eura?
Of course. And I was on the dance floor, so yes, it was great. Really, it was a great idea. Yes.
Do you think we should do a party at ERC in Boston and have Inigo and the Mobility Light Orchestra play?
Of course, yeah, because really it was they played very well. It was a great band, and I think it had been a long time I didn't see so many people at Eura on the dance floor. So that was really great, and they did a great job.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was at my son's birthday party. He turned 8, so I wasn't able to be there, but I saw pictures and videos and it looks absolutely amazing. And if you don't follow it, follow Mobility Light Orchestra on LinkedIn. It's pretty dope. So hopefully, I want to have a party and I want them to be the musical entertainment. We just have to get some sponsors together. So if you're watching this and you want to sponsor a party at Worldwide ERC, Jana, let me know if you're watching. I think we're thinking Tuesday night. So yeah, let me know. Jason Maciat says, my wife's an educator, but works for our team during the summer. I enjoy working together. Jason, does it ever get weird? You guys carpool? Go to lunch together? Or is that too much? Curious. Rita, it's been a challenge shutting down during the pandemic and separating work from home. I'm not sure how I could manage to split work from personal life if I were working with my wife. Yeah. Do you
Well,
ever feel like you have any time alone if you're working, together?
well, I must say that it can be a challenge because especially when you are starting a business, it's 90% of your time, and your 10% of your time is your family. Um, but and it's funny because our daughter, she's 20, and when she was at home when we started the business, she said, oh, I can start in the relocation industry whenever I want because I know everything about home search, immigration, bundles, packages, just by listening to us during the time at home. Yeah, so I think it's very difficult to separate, and people say, yeah, but you always talk about business when you get home. But the interesting thing is that anybody I mean, every couple, they go back home and they're going to talk about business. They at work, about their boss that you don't know, about their colleague that you don't know. At least when we are talking business together at home, I mean, we understand each other.
Yeah. You talk about your daughter, and I want to talk about her a little bit here. How many years until we see her at Eura or Worldwide ERC representing LuxRelo, do you think?
Well, she started a vet school in Lisbon, in Portugal. So I don't know. It's the path she's going to choose. I mean, she wants to be. It's funny because my three kids, they want to be entrepreneur at one point. And for her, she's very much involved in a lot of things on the side of her studies. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy if one of my child will join the business at one point. That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to pass that down. But you also want to let your kids have their own future, right? So it's like kind of this
Yeah.
you have this amazing gift to give, but at the same time you want them to be their own person. So it's hard to
I,
balance that, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. They need to have their own life. If at one point they wish to join, or they wish to do some be part of our journey, that's fine. But if they want to do something else, that's their right. They should have their own path, and we are. I mean, who I am to give them any orders on what they have to do.
Yeah, I love it. Inigo says, I work with my wife now. I worked in the same company with her for 20 years ago in Madrid and worked her in the same company in London. Third time's the charm for him, he says. Well, hey, at least you'd rehire her. I
Yeah.
mean, you work together and three times now. This is great,
But
Inigo.
but maybe he fired her two times,
Oh,
or he's been fired twice.
I hope she doesn't watch the show, Inigo. Oh gosh, he's great. Jeremy saying yes, we work together. Jean is saying yes, Tuesday night. So Tuesday night, unofficially, we're gonna, breaking news here right now. We're quasi announcing the fact that we're gonna do a party at ERC in Boston Tuesday night, and headlined by the Mobility Light Orchestra. I need to see you on the dance floor. Are you gonna be there, Stephane? You going to Boston in the fall? What do you
No,
think?
I'm not. No, I don't think so. I won't be able to make it this year.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
will
same
support
for me,
it
to be honest.
from Luxembourg.
Nice. Yeah, maybe we'll have to like broadcast. We'll have to like stream it or something, so everybody can watch it.
I think they've streamed it at Eura from what some people were filming. But yeah, if you can stream it, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll tell everybody to go live on Instagram and just create like
Yeah, yeah.
this simultaneous kind of moment. That'd be sweet. We mentioned your daughter earlier, and you posted something on LinkedIn with you and your daughter, that I thought was just one of the best posts I've ever seen. And I actually made a little rundown. I think it was in 2020, maybe it was 2021, of the best posts of that
2020.
year, and I included it in my like top 5 posts. You want to tell people about that post?
Well, basically, I think it was like 3 weeks into the lockdown, and I think like everybody else in our industry, when you hear that borders are being closed, people are not allowed to move around, and our company is still young, so not strong finances, and we were like, oh, we are dead. So for 1 week, we were a bit down, and we didn't know where to go. Um, Good thing is that we've been working with a mentor, business coach for a few years, and he's been kicking our ass, saying, that's the best time to be visible. Everybody's at home in front of their computer, their phone, their tablets. You need to be in front of them. And he said, you need to make videos. And I was like, no way, no way. I'm not. I hate videos. I hate to be in front of a camera. I hate to be on stage. Um, and the week after, he's asking me, but what about your video? And I just said, oh, I did a video with my daughter because her dance teacher did a challenge where my daughter needed and her friends needed to dance with one of the family members. So I disguised myself as with a tutu and a wig, and I danced on the music of Flashdance. And when
Yeah, it
I
was pretty
told that
incredible.
to yeah, yeah,
It
and
was
when I told that to my coach, he said, "Oh, that's great. Put it on LinkedIn." I said, "Are you totally nuts, crazy? It's not possible." And so I edited the video, prepared the post, and I think I waited 10 minutes before pressing the send button, and I said, "Oh, I'm dead." And the reaction was quite incredible because at that time we only had bad news, people dying, lockdowns, people being scared about losing their job, their business, and having me dancing in front of on video made people laugh. And I think it's well, what and it's funny because my daughter told me, but dad, why did you put my ass in front of everybody? I said, don't worry, nobody's going to. Everybody's only looking at you dancing, terribly. So that was fun, and it's funny because with the comments I had, people reaching out to me. I remember you invited me on your show following that video, and I've been invited to a few discussions, and suddenly I realized also that I could be myself. That as a business owner, I didn't. I mean, you cannot be liked by everybody. So if I wanted to put a video on LinkedIn and with me dancing with my daughter, saying that it's you can do things differently, it was fun, and it has been a tipping point in my life. Really, for this
Wow.
video has been a kind of a booster in my confidence, which I didn't have before.
I Wow. Where can people? Is there a place people can see this video? Is it pinned to
Oh
your
yeah,
profile?
yes, of course. I can share the link because I can share the link in the comments.
All right. So Stephane's going to share the link in the comments. Don't leave to go watch it right now, though. Okay, because we got more stuff we're going to talk about. I'm giving you gems here, but don't leave. That's the hardest part. Sometimes we go off on these tangents and then people like leave. Hit that like button right now. Send some love out to Luxembourg. Love in Luxembourg. Sounds like a show. Could do it.
Yes,
Love
I
it.
just need to find a way to put it back here.
Jeremy says send a
Okay.
photo of you wearing your tutu and a wig. Jeremy, you didn't see it? It was epic. It was so good when it came out. I was like, honestly, I mean, I'm pretty out there kind of person. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like, yo, this dude right here is bananas. He put it in there. He did it. Stephane put it in there. I don't know if it's clickable or not. You might have to cut and paste it and put it into a different browser. Don't close this window. Like that, by the way, so that it becomes the top rated or top pinned comment on there. Nan Park says he's laughing, but he's not. He's laughing, but he's not leaving. Good. That's the kind of attitude we need, Nan. Hang in there, buddy. Appreciate you, Nan Park, one of the greats. Yeah. So you put this thing on LinkedIn. It was you and your daughter just dancing. What was it, like Footloose or something? What was it? What was the song?
Yeah, I think yeah, something
I
like
still remember.
that.
This is crazy. 3 years ago, and I still remember the song y'all were dancing to, I think. And I mean, that's how I think I watched it twice. And I'm like, this guy's really legit in like a leotard and a tutu and like whatever. And the fact you put that out there, and you know, it identifies so much of what you're saying, where you waited like 10 minutes to hit post, to hit that like send button. And I think that there's something about the time between creating the post and hitting the send button.
Yeah,
It's like a magical moment where you're like doing an inventory of your values. You're doing an inventory of all your fears. You're doing a calculus of the risk versus reward of this. You know, you're
that's
second
true.
guessing yourself. You're having a conversation with, you know, this self over here that embodies all the people in your life that are looking at you, and this self over here who wants to be a certain type of person. And like these things are all at odds. And then you're like, oh, screw it. And you hit that button, you know, and then it's like this roller coaster where you're at the top, and now you're like, oh, what's gonna happen?
It's exactly that. It's really exactly that. But in a way, now I can be truly myself. You know, I'm this crazy guy dancing in a tutu. You know, I've been to there was a party organized in Luxembourg, and I disguised myself. Nobody recognized me. I was going to people saying, "Hey, hello," and they were, "Who is this crazy guy? You know, who looks like a hippie?" And well, that's me. You know, I love to have fun, but it doesn't stop me to be serious in my work.
Yeah, what is that about? Why do we think that we can't be funny, crazy, silly, and still be a professional?
I think it's part of the education. It's part of the code of conducts that you have, you know, in business, in personal life as well. You know, it's like, oh, you know, you shouldn't be funny. If you're funny, you're not serious in your job.
I deal with that one all the time. I feel like because I make jokes on here all the time, that people think that what we're talking about is not important, or it's not credible, or it's not, you know, serious at the same time.
Yeah. So it's difficult to understand that and to accept that you can be the same person in your personal life and your professional life of and you know I this really helped me, and now, you know, if I want to make jokes, I make jokes, and if people don't like it, they don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it helped me a lot in terms of confidence in the way I'm working with our clients and corporate accounts, because, you know, I mean, life is short, and it should be fun.
So I think you're spot on, and you're giving me all these thoughts, right? And there's three things that are occurring to me right now by being your silly, authentic, genuine, perhaps controversial self, right? Three things happen. One, you attract people who are like-minded, who will love that part of you, who will love you for who you are. The second is you repel people who you shouldn't be doing business with anyway, you know,
The
and who
law
are
of
just going to,
attraction
you
and
know, the law
rejection.
of, and yeah. And the third thing is, now that you've put yourself out there in that way, you have this freedom now, and you've freed up a lot of bandwidth in your head that's trying to manage the expectation and image that you put out there. And now all that bandwidth and those mental processes are now gone, because you realize you're not having to put on and fabricate some sort of an image anymore, and you can now allocate
And
that.
you are spot on, because really, what I've you know, I sometimes I come back home, I went to events, or I have people just, you know, out of the blue contacting me on LinkedIn saying, can we have a coffee? And I've made in the past year and a half encounters that are just incredible, incredible. I mean, and I come back home, and I tell my wife, I mean, I had it was a half-hour meeting, and we spent 1 hour and a half, and it was just amazing. But on the other side, a few of old friends, of old connections, slowly, disappeared, because, like you said, yeah, kind of rejection as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. And talking about freeing your mind, it also had an impact on your whole body. I had
Mhm.
very often back problems, pain in my neck, and this has nearly totally disappeared.
Wow. So you had physiological issues occurring from, and you're like, in your late 40s. I mean, you're not an old man. But you were having
I'm
like these.
56, by the way.
Oh, okay. I had bad notes here. Yeah, I have bad notes. I don't know.
Or late
Um,
50s.
all right, so maybe maybe those are well earned then. But no, I mean, so you're having physiological reactions to the stress. I presume
Yeah.
you kind of carry it around, and that's really interesting. We got people checking in here, and Nigo saying, "Well said, Stefan. Be yourself and keep being fun. Love it." Mike Quigley, being genuine to who you are says a lot. Amen, brother. Danny Herskowitz, hi Ben and Stefan. Love this topic, guys. Love how real you guys are. If you're not truly yourself, you can't be your best for others. That's so good, Danny. Like Danny,
That's totally true.
yeah. Because if you're not yourself, you can't be your best, right? Because then because you just become a bad copy of some other image that you want to project. You just become a
And
duplication.
it's true that for a long time in my career, and I think it's also in my personal life, I always wanted to please people around me, and so I would do things, the extra mile and so on, not being rewarded, working for big corporations where they were just pushing us, down, and I mean, you shouldn't accept that, and you should be yourself at all time.
Yeah. And Paul Convery checking in, looking good at 56. Paul,
So
he's
Paul
married.
Paul 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 knows about Luxembourg.
Does he? Does Paul know?
Yes,
Did Paul, did y'all go to did he live in Luxembourg? What do you
I
know
will
about
let
Paul?
him answer to that.
Paul, answer the question, Paul. Answer the question, Paul. I need to know. Paul. No, I'm just kidding. Love Paul though. Paul's great. Paul does some really great stuff about recruiting and talent acquisition. He's also the better half of Deb Convery, who refuses
So
to be on
for
the
the
show.
for the story, Deb was HR at Amazon in Luxembourg. It's where I met her.
Oh, you know Deb. Okay. Hey,
Yeah,
question. You know Deb. So what could I do, you think, to get Deb Convery on the show?
I mean, just ask Paul.
Paul,
He's here.
you got any pull? Paul, you got pull, Paul? Paul says yes, lives in Luxembourg. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Paul, what'd you think of it? Paul, give me three things. I don't even know how to look at Paul. Paul says I belong to the Amazon women group when I lived in Luxembourg. That's that's great. And Paul, I need more information. You can't just throw that out there and then I'm just thinking about Amazonian women. He says how much how
How
much?
much?
Paul's for sale. That's great. That's great. Let it be known.
That's
Paul's on the
that's for the
take.
invitation for Deb.
Paul, give me three things that you remember about Luxembourg that maybe because I don't know anything about it. So I want like an American's idea here of what did you like about it? I'm really curious. I need to get over there and I know Stefan's gonna sell me on Luxembourg and he's gonna have all his reasons for going and visiting. And I definitely do want to do that. But Paul, I'd love to know what your take was as well over
What
there.
is really interesting about Luxembourg is that you walk in the streets and you walk for half an hour and you will hear people speaking, 5, 6, 7, 8 different languages around you.
Is that because are most people who are there are they immigrants
Multilingual.
to or well no I was gonna say are they immigrant are they from other countries?
Well, and also the local people, they are the kids, they speak Luxembourgish, German, and French plus English, and a lot of them are immigrants, so they would speak Portuguese, Spanish on top of that. So it's very often that you meet people that speak, 4, 5, 6 languages in Luxembourg.
I have to ask, I've never heard of Luxembourgish. What is Luxembourgish?
It's a mix of French, German, and Dutch, so it's a kind of dialect, and it didn't used to be a proper written language, but now it's one of the 3 official languages in Luxembourg. So German, French, and Luxembourgish.
I thought you were like making that up, but
No, no,
Luxembourgish.
no.
Luxembourgish. This is great. Let's see here. Oh gosh, Tom gave me a long one. I never know if I'm supposed to read the long ones, but here we go. Tom Brune, also just a brilliant mind, an excellent drummer. One of Ben's past guests turned me on to the concept of outgrown relationships, which resonates with the discussion of of short, shoring people up with humor and optimism. People who don't appreciate the need to keep things light are missing out on opportunities to build stronger relationships, including serious professional relationships. By the way, is Stephane an international art investor? Okay, so we have a lot to unpack here. Tom, I'm 100% with you on this, the need to keep things light and to build strong relationships through humor. I love it. He's asking about your art, though. What
Oh,
that
the
is
art.
striking.
So you know what? That's my wife's art piece. She did it.
Yet another reason why Sandrine should be the one on the show.
So look at that. It's an
Yes.
old Samsung.
It's a
That was her.
it's
It's a
it's a
flap
flip
one.
phone.
Yeah, that it was her phone, and she did a piece of art with that. So it's in
Oh
the
wow.
pocket of the jean here.
Oh. I'm
There
over
you
here.
are.
I'm making like faces. I'm trying to look at it. Very nice. Very nice. Well done, Sandrine. Well done. Paul Converse says, number 1, great people. Okay, I'll give it to you. Number 2, cultural melting pot. Okay, I like that.
Like I said.
3, central to many countries. Great place to live and travel through Europe for cheap. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Cultural melting pot. Talk to me about the food. Is the food good, or is it good?
Well, I think it's quite international now. So you have whatever you want. You have Spanish, you have Greek, Turkish, Lebanese, whatever you want, you would find it. So yeah, the food is quite good, depending on what you like.
How expensive is Luxembourg
So
compared to
Luxembourg
other
start to
surrounding
yeah,
countries?
Luxembourg start to be very expensive, because we have a system of indexes on salary. So especially in the past year and a half, we already had 4 indexes on salary, which is great for employees, but is a challenge for employers.
Can you tell me what that
Um,
means? Can you explain to us what indexes on salaries mean?
It means that when the interest rates are reaching a certain point, so it's a basket of products, and when this basket is going too high, they have a bit of a similar system in Belgium, which means that when it reaches a certain point, all the salaries are automatically raised by 2.5%.
2.5.
So
Any more? Does
2.5.
it go up from 2.5 or
No,
just
no,
two?
it's 2.5,
So it kicks
2.5.
in.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So of course this has an impact on because everybody has to increase it's by law you have to increase the salary of your employees, which means that yeah, suddenly your rent is going to increase. The restaurants, when you go to restaurants, it's going to increase as well, because of course the owners have to raise the salary of the wages and the cook and so on. So wow, it's a bit of a problem. There are a lot of discussions where an index is great, but why the guy earning 400,000 per year should have an index on his salary? It would be better maybe to have a higher index increase in lower salaries and not having an index on very high salaries. So, but it's all
And you said, and did you
political
say there
discussions.
was? Did you say there's 4 indexes this year? Does
Yeah,
that mean 4 jumps of 2.5%?
2.5. Yeah,
And
exactly.
do they
Yes.
compound? Do they compound upon each other? Do they, like,
So, well, it's. I mean, we had the last one we had was in April, and the one before was in February, but it was one that was postponed from last year. So yeah, it's a bit, and they are talking about possibly another one at the fall, which can be is starting to be an issue in Luxembourg, because then Luxembourg is less competitive on the international market. So we saw a bit of a slowdown in recruitment in Luxembourg as well. So yeah, it's on the long term they will have to find a solution to on this issue.
Mike Quigley has a good question. Do the index rates drop salaries?
No.
So once it goes up, it can't go back
Yeah.
down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's no deflation or
No.
okay.
No.
And now, does it also impact the cost of Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Maseratis?
Yes. It's funny because one of the guy from a political party used this example during a town hall.
It's like, man, my Lamborghini just got 2.5% more expensive.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it will have 2.5, but the cost might rise. Yeah.
Super interesting.
Which is also difficult for us. We are in recruitment very often. It's a percentage of the salary. So if there is an index, it doesn't impact your the commission you will get on placing someone. In our business, to have an index, you can absorb maybe 1, 2. So we had strong discussions and negotiation with our a few of our corporate accounts in November, because we told them there's no way we can keep it that way. We have to increase, and it's very difficult to and we all know about it, that in relocation, to have an on the road consultant, you cannot just say, okay, she will be able to, or he will be able to take more files. You would need to hire if you have more files. So you have very low economy of scale.
This is actually a really good segue into what LuxRelo actually does. So explain to people what LuxRelo actually does for those of them out there that are interested in.
So, well, we are in the immigration and relocation business. We are also, due to my past life, I'm also doing some move management, because most of my career was in the moving industry. So yeah, we support all the people arriving in Luxembourg, and we have a few of our local accounts that have entities abroad. So we are also doing a bit of outbound with partners around the globe.
And who is like an ideal client for LuxRelo?
Oh, the ideal client is a client that trusts you, and that knows that you know your business, and that don't interfere all the time. It's funny because well, a big part of our customers are like that, which basically and a part of my sales pitch is you want to work with us because basically you initiate. We send you the confirmation that we have well received your initiation, and then you receive the invoice. And in the middle, normally you don't hear about the file, except if sometimes we have to just give you some feedback, because your employee starts to be a bit demanding, or doesn't understand what are the limitations of the services we have to provide him. So that's a great customer. It's for me.
Is it a corporate? Is it an RMC? Like how does that?
No corporate.
How does that work?
No corporate. We are in a lucky position to mainly work with direct corporate accounts. For me, the whole idea of our business is partnership. So partnership with corporate accounts, partnership with freelancers, suppliers, and it needs to be a win-win situation, which sometimes in part of industry is not always the case. So the trust is not always here. I mean, we are the one, knowing Luxembourg, so don't tell us how we should work in Luxembourg.
Let me ask you this. You talk about trust, and that's really a key part of the persona, client persona for us as well. How do you know when trust is there? It's easy to know when it's not there, right? But how do you know when it is there?
Well, I mean, it's small things like, the HR is coming to you and saying, "Oh, can you give me advice on we have an issue with our mover." I mean, that was one question we had. So he was asking us last year because of the huge increase of pricing we had in the moving industry. He came to us and said, "Oh, but our moving suppliers, they have crazy prices. Is it normal? How does it work?" And really, he was he was asking questions like that, and he's coming when there's an issue, he's coming to us, and it's a back and forth discussion. And we have a lot of those discussions with the companies we are working with, which is great, because they trust us um, to be here to give them the right advice, and sometimes to tell them, sorry, we cannot do it, or sorry, be careful, your employee is starting to be a bit is going a bit too far, and funny enough, when we start to have problem with one of their with one assignee, they already start to have problems internally within the company as well.
Yeah. Relo exposes so many issues that are become HR issues. I love what you're talking about asking for advice, though, because as service providers, especially boots on the ground like you are, right? I mean, we have so much expertise, and it's so interesting to me when clients don't ask for that expertise, and or when you give it and they don't want it, right? And so I think when they actually go to you and they say, "Hey, here's a situation I'm having. What advice do you have for me?" Such an underrated move for a client, and so great. Such a great example. Paul's got a question here as we're getting to the home stretch here, and I do have some cool overrated underrateds here coming up for you, Stephane. So stay sharp here, okay? I know it's getting close to 11 o'clock your time. Paul says, "What would you say is the number one reason for your success, Stephane?"
My wife.
You know what? That's an easy answer. That's pandering. I'm not going to allow it.
No, but I mean, it's part of it, because I mean, it could be a business partner as well. Working when you are an entrepreneur and you are starting alone, it can be you might be surrounded by colleagues, by advisors, by friends, but it can be a very lonely job, and you have doubts, and you have ups, and you have downs, and the good thing when you are two is that most of the time you're not down at the same time, which you can help each other to pass through this questioning period. Our business, I mean, the 3 first months of the year have been very slow for us, so you're starting to wondering, is it short term, long term? The impact of the war, the impact of inflation, and you say, oh, okay. But if you are two, you are able to to support yourself. The other thing is to have a great team around you. So that's the biggest challenge, to have people that and we've made a lot of mistakes in hiring, and now we are happy to have a great team around us, and that's part of our success. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have the great team we have around us. And the fact that and it might be a nice slogan on your wall, like like I've seen it in a lot of companies, is that we are really customer oriented. And that's not just a sign or a slogan behind me on the wall. That's our day-to-day DNA. We've set up processes that are around customer satisfaction and customer success. So that's I think a big part of our success. And also that we I mean, when we started, we decided to use social media, and I'm a big user of social media because it gives you visibility.
What's the
Um,
ROI on social media? People want to know this all the time, especially people who have been, been in charge for a long time. And the social media thing kind of went from being this thing that kids do to this newfangled thing that nobody understands, to this thing that everybody uses but still doesn't understand, to now I'm too old for this. What 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 is the ROI? Why should what do you get out of it? Why should businesses use it?
Well, it's funny. I did a presentation on content marketing, and I had it was a workshop, and I had 30 people in front of me, marketing managers, social media managers, content managers, whatever, working for banks, working for law firm, and so on. And so I was telling a bit my story and the way I use social media, and they were all saying, "Oh yeah, but I cannot do that. I'm working for a bank. We have strict guidelines and so on." I said, "Yes, I understand that part, but I mean, you still have flexibility to do things differently." And I was talking to one of the guy working for a law firm, and he said, "Oh, but." Yeah, basically, I'm doing more or less the same as all the other law firms. So I said, oh, okay, so it's boring communication, a guy in a suit and and not smiling. And he said, oh yeah, maybe something like that. I said that you have so many things you can do around a law firm. A partner might be, I don't know, he might be like Inigo, doing having a band. You could do a small video, about side projects of the partners and or their
Yeah,
hobby when they are not at work, and publish that on the social media, and it would have a huge impact, because suddenly those boring men and women in suits would be human. And I think
100%.
it's and I think that, I mean, I don't think I had direct return on investment on my publication, but I have a lot of people reaching out to me because they say, "Oh, you look friendly. The content you are providing is interesting." I had a lady at an event. She just reached out to me and said, "Oh, hi, Stefan. How are you?" And I was like, "I never met this lady. I don't know who she is." And, "Oh, but you don't know me, by the way, but we are connected on LinkedIn, and my company needed an immigration support for a work permit, and they had a bad experience with another company, and I said, oh, you should use Stefan. He's great." So you never
Perfect.
know.
Yeah. I mean,
Hi,
brand
Debbie.
awareness right there. There's Debbie checking in from Seattle. Good to see you, Debbie. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, this is Stephane's second time here on the show here, but it's been a long time. I mean, gosh, it's
Yeah,
been
COVID
probably
time.
what, yeah, 2020. So
2020.
one,
Yes. Yeah.
two, three, 3 years probably since you've been on. So it's pretty cool to have you back, Stefan, and hear your story and hear your journey and hear kind of how it's all kind of unfolded since you started kind of becoming more active and more your authentic self on social. It's a great self. I want to learn more about you though, and I'm going to suggest we play a game. You seem like the type of person who likes to play a game. Are you up for a game, Stefan?
Ready?
That's what you say now. We'll see. So we have a game here. It's called Overrated, Underrated. All right. Do you know how to play this game?
Yes.
Okay, there's only two rules. All right. I'm going to give you a topic, and you are going to tell me if it is overrated or underrated. And then I'm going to tell you if you are correct. All right. Shall we begin?
Ready when you are.
Are you sitting down for this? Okay. Here we go. All right. Underrated. Working at an office. Underrated or overrated?
Underrated.
Underrated. Why do you think that, Stefan?
Well, I think that you build a company I mean, some people might disagree with me, but yeah, that's fine. Now I'm fine with people disagreeing with me. Um, I think it's where you build a company culture. It's where you exchange with people, where you start to know your colleagues and your employees, and um, I'm more into flexibility than into work from home. I don't mind if people work from home from time to time, but as a rule, like people want to work 4 days a week, from home and one day. Well, it might be okay in some jobs. It might be okay for some people, uh, but we are human beings. We need interaction. Look at what happened. When suddenly we were allowed to go out of a lockdown, because basically if it's fine to work from home all the time, so let's put as a rule that the lockdown is the new way to live.
Right.
I prefer to have, I mean, I'm happy to have those kind of interaction because you are across the ocean, and I wouldn't be able to meet you if all those tools we have now didn't exist. I mean, I met a lot of people during the lockdown that are around the globe, and I made friends like that. But I mean, when I saw those people, and some of them I didn't see for a long time, and some of them I met them for the first time after discussing with them on social media or on video, to meet them in real, to have a beer, to have lunch with them at Eura in Dublin was just incredible. It's not the same, and in the office, it's you don't have the feeling of the people. I was talking to one of my cousin. She's an HR in an IT company, and for her, she told me that it's a bit of a nightmare because you don't have the pulse of the company. You don't know what's happening. The small chit chat around the coffee, which might be you might be losing time, but a lot of the information is circulating through that.
Yeah, I think
And if
you do.
somebody,
I'm going to interject here too because you're making a lot of
yeah,
points. And I just want to highlight one of them you just
yeah.
made. The conversation around the coffee, right? We do this a lot here at Glomo too, and the conversation around the coffee, you lose time, but you build trust. You have that interpersonal interaction where it's like, "How was your weekend? What's going on? What do you want to chat about?" Kind of just the casual little unforced little conversation, and I think that
but
that's where
it,
trust is built.
it's but it's more than that. If somebody has an issue at home, I don't know, the mother died or somebody from the family is sick, uh, and you would see the body language of the person in the office. It's more difficult
Yeah.
behind a camera.
I'm gonna give you this one. I think working at the office is underrated. I do like what you're saying as far as some flexibility as well. We are running out of time here. We're gonna have to go through this lightning. Okay, you only get one word answer. Okay.
Yeah,
Next one is RMC partnerships. Overrated or underrated?
overrated.
All right, moving on. Luxembourg, overrated or underrated?
Underrated, clearly.
He said clearly. French wine, overrated or underrated?
Overrated. You have so many
Oh,
good ones around the globe.
I love the honesty here. Company culture, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
And that's our show. You did a great job with it. Thanks so much, Stefan. I'm going to leave you with the final word, though. What do you want to say to people, Stefan?
Well, I think I mean, it's really thank you for inviting me, and really, thank you to have set up this show, and I also just want maybe as a final question, when you started Love and Relo, did you think, 5 years after that it would be what it is now?
Yeah. Yeah, I
because
appreciate
it's
the
quite
question.
incredible what you've done.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So we're about 3.5 years in right now, and we are at our 500th episode coming up this summer. At some point this summer, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Actually, I want to have Deb Convery on for like my 499th episode, but I don't know how to ask her. So um, don't tell anybody. But anyway, yeah.
No,
So we
I
got
won't.
500 episodes coming up this summer. I'm trying to actually do a little party for it. So I never thought that it would. I no, I never. I was just honestly just trying to get to the next day. Just like, how can I get a guest? How can I have something to talk about? God, I hope I don't have to do this by myself. And then it became a thing where I felt like I had a duty and an obligation to kind of keep it going and to make it better and better and improve on it, which is why we invested so heavily into it. And I still wonder, how do I add value and keep it sharp and keep it meaningful and relevant, and
And that's a lot of work, I must say, because during the COVID time, I did a few podcasts and interviews, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of preparation. It's very demanding, and like you said, you need to think ahead. You need to, be ready to because you need to have the show, to keep the momentum. You need to have, new guests. You need to have new questions, and I mean that's quite inspiring.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and means a lot that you've come on and taken time. I know it's super late where you are. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Also, hit that like button one more time. Send some love
Thanks a
to
lot, everybody.
Luxembourg and LuxRelo. Thank you, Stephane
And happy to
Compain.
welcome you to Luxembourg whenever you are in Europe.
I would absolutely adore that opportunity. I should do a tour. I'd like to do a tour where I do like a different country
Yeah.
every day and
I
maybe
mean,
do like
you can do like Inigo did, you have a camper van
camper.
and you go and meet people around Europe.
Yes, Inigo. Let's do a road trip, Inigo. That'd be phenomenal. Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Let's see here. Still with the depth thing. Yeah. All right, everybody. I'll see y'all later. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Stefan.